More than 2 decades later, The Sixth Sense still lingers in our collective memory. But why? Is it the shocking twist we didn't see coming? The quiet fear that crept in instead of loud jump scares? Or the uncomfortable realization that the clues were always right in front of us? Released in 1999, The Sixth Sense didn't just succeed, it reshaped how psychological thrillers were made. Directed by M. Night Shyamalan and anchored by unforgettable performances from Bruce Willis and a young Haley Joel Osment, the film earned 6 Academy Award nominations and became a cultural milestone almost overnight. But what truly sets this film apart isn't just what we saw on screen. It's what happened behind the scenes, the hidden decisions, risky choices, and strange moments that quietly shaped one of the most haunting movies ever made. So let's step back into that world and ask an important question. What if the story behind The Sixth Sense is almost as unsettling as the film itself? A child actor who changed everything. How often does a casting decision change the fate of an entire film? When Haley Joel Osment walked into his audition, he wasn't just another hopeful child actor. He was 10 years old, and completely unafraid. He reportedly asked for silence, turned toward the casting team with tears already in his eyes, and delivered a performance so raw it stopped the room cold. There were no tricks, no theatrics, just fear, vulnerability, and a quiet intensity that felt disturbingly real. Director M. Night Shyamalan later admitted he struggled to hold back tears. The search for Cole Sear ended that day. No other child could replicate what Osment instinctively understood, that the role required emotional honesty, not special effects. It raises an interesting question. How many performances feel powerful because they're acted, and how many because they're simply felt? Osment's sincerity became the emotional backbone of the entire film. Bruce Willis didn't choose the film, at first. Would you believe The Sixth Sense was part of a legal and financial settlement? Years earlier, Bruce Willis had been involved in a troubled Disney production that collapsed mid-filming, costing the studio millions. To make amends, Willis signed a 3-picture deal that would help offset the loss. Those films turned out to be Armageddon, The Sixth Sense, and The Kid. Ironically, what began as a contractual obligation became one of the most defining performances of his career. Willis earned $10 million for The Sixth Sense, but more importantly, he earned renewed respect as a dramatic actor. It's worth asking, how often do career-defining moments come from places we never planned to be? Another actor almost played Cole. Imagine The Sixth Sense without Haley Joel Osment. It almost happened. A young Michael Cera, years before Arrested Development, auditioned for the role. By his own admission, he misunderstood the script completely. He played the scenes with optimism, not fear, unaware the story revolved around the dead. When he later watched the finished film, the emotional weight of those scenes finally made sense. It's a reminder that timing matters. Talent alone isn't enough. Sometimes understanding the moment is everything. The secret language of red. Have you ever noticed how often red appears in The Sixth Sense? A doorknob, a balloon, a sweater, a single object in an otherwise muted frame. This wasn't coincidence. Shyamalan and cinematographer Tak Fujimoto created a visual code. Red signaled moments when the supernatural brushed against the living world. The effect was subtle but powerful. Your mind registered danger before your brain consciously understood it. 15 dye tests were conducted to find the perfect shade, one that would cut through the film's cold blue-gray palette without screaming for attention. Which makes you wonder, is the most effective fear the kind we don't realize we're feeling? Even Bruce Willis was kept in the dark. To protect the film's twist, secrecy became an obsession. Bruce Willis didn't receive the final pages of the script. The ending existed as a password-protected file known only to a select few. Crew members were warned never to mention details that could hint at the truth, not even casually. Willis recorded alternate dialogue and was carefully shielded from conversations about wedding rings, hospital monitors, or anything that could raise suspicion. When he finally learned the truth, his character had been dead all along. It was after filming wrapped. That shock wasn't accidental. It became part of his performance. Ask yourself, how different would the film feel if the actors had known everything from the start? A line that almost disappeared forever. I see dead people. Hard to imagine the film without it, isn't it? Studio executives initially wanted the line removed. Early feedback labeled it cheesy. But Shyamalan refused. He argued that the power of the line came from how quietly it was delivered, not from the words themselves. To make his case, he played recordings of real children describing nightmares in flat, emotionless tones. The room reportedly fell silent. The line stayed, and became one of the most quoted moments in film history. Sometimes, restraint is more terrifying than excess. Do we underestimate the power of simplicity? Donnie Wahlberg's unrecognizable transformation. Donnie Wahlberg appears on screen for barely 10 minutes, but he lost over 40 pounds in just 5 weeks to play Vincent Gray. He fasted, isolated himself, and wandered city streets to emotionally strip himself down. He wanted suffering to show on his body, not be simulated. The result? A performance that sets the emotional tone of the entire film. It begs the question: when an actor disappears into a role, do we truly appreciate the cost? A script that cost someone their job. Before filming began, Shyamalan demanded something bold. A minimum $1 million bid, and complete creative control. Disney executive David Vogel read the script and bought it for $2.25 million without corporate approval. He was later fired for it, just weeks before the film's release. The irony? The Sixth Sense went on to earn over $670 million worldwide. Sometimes belief in a story requires personal risk. Would you stake your career on an idea you believed in? Bruce Willis learned to write with the wrong hand. To protect the twist, Willis trained himself to write right-handed, even though he's naturally left-handed. Why? A missing wedding ring on his left hand would have revealed too much. This tiny detail went unnoticed by most viewers, but on repeat viewings, it becomes chilling. It's proof that the smallest choices often carry the greatest weight. Wardrobe as a hidden clue. Malcolm Crowe wears nearly the same outfit throughout the film. This wasn't laziness, it was symbolism. He's frozen in time, trapped in the moment of his death. Minor changes, a missing coat here, a sweater gone there, keep the audience from noticing the pattern outright. Ghosts don't evolve. They repeat. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Real cold. Real fear. Cole's visible breath wasn't CGI. Sets were chilled below freezing. Plastic sheeting trapped the cold. Osment shivered because he was actually cold. Shyamalan believed real discomfort created real performances. Even today, the effect holds up, because it was real. Sets that felt wrong. Much of the film was shot in an abandoned Philadelphia convention center. Cast members described echoing corridors, sudden chills, and an unsettling sense of being watched. Misha Barton and Toni Collette both admitted the location felt genuinely haunted. Whether paranormal or psychological, the atmosphere seeped into performances. Toni Collette's wig, and her real-life experiences. Collette was bald during auditions, fresh off another role. Shyamalan hid the audition tape from studio executives, fearing her appearance would cost her the part. She wore a borrowed wig throughout filming. Off-screen, she experienced strange repeated clock times, 1:11, 3:33, 4:44, night after night. She never claimed anything supernatural, but the timing unnerved her. Coincidence, or suggestion? Scenes too disturbing to show. A hospital corridor filled with mutilated ghosts was filmed, and removed. Shyamalan felt it crossed into traditional horror. The film worked because it trusted the audience's imagination. What we don't see often frightens us more than what we do. Why the film still haunts us. The Sixth Sense endures because it respects its audience. It doesn't shout. It doesn't rush. It lets you discover the truth, often too late. And maybe that's why it stays with us. Because long after the twist is revealed, the feeling remains. Final question. Which of these behind-the-scenes moments surprised you the most? If you enjoyed revisiting this classic from a deeper perspective, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay curious. Because some stories never stop watching us back.